Hey guys, you're not going to believe these side tables started from Dollar Tree items. Let me show you. In today's video, I'm sharing 5 brand new Dollar Tree side table DIYs that look ridiculously high-end. And I promise no one will ever guess they started from Dollar Tree. Yes, we're talking about modern sculptural tables, luxury accent pieces, and designer-inspired decor that look like they belong in stores like West Elm, CB2, or Crate and Barrel. The best part? These are all budget-friendly DIY projects using simple Dollar Tree materials that we are about to transform into stunning statement furniture pieces. My name is Nora G, and welcome to my Nook. I can't wait for you to see these DIYs because honestly, they all look like something that should cost way more. So if you love Dollar Tree DIYs, high-end home decor, and designer dupes on a budget, you are going to love these ideas. You're in for a treat. So let's get started. Okay, if I showed you this side table in a home decor showroom, most people will assume it cost a few $100s. But this entire piece was made using Dollar Tree items, guys. And honestly, this might be one of my favorite transformations in today's video. For this first DIY, I grabbed 1 large wooden cutting board and 5 smaller ones from Dollar Tree. I also picked up these 5 small ceramic planter pots. Now these planters actually come in different colors, but for this project, I already knew I wasn't keeping the original color. What I really loved about them though was the weight. They're ceramic and slightly heavy, which makes them perfect for a project like this, where you want your finished piece to feel sturdy and high-end. First thing I did was give the planters a quick wipe down just to remove any dust or residue before painting. After that, I removed the labels, which thankfully came off really easily. Dollar Tree stickers don't always cooperate, but these ones behaved very nicely. To give them a more elevated look, I used gold spray paint to transform them into these beautiful metallic columns. Look at that. You could absolutely use acrylic paint, chalk paint, or even rub and buff if you prefer, but spray paint gives the smoothest finish for something like this. Once those were painted, I set them aside to fully dry while I worked on the wooden cutting boards. For the bots, I used a semi-gloss black spray paint. And yes, I know someone mentioned in my last video that I use black a lot. And they're right. Yes, I do. Black just works really well with my neutral home decor style at the moment. And it instantly makes pieces look more modern and high-end, in my opinion. But of course, you can customize this and any way you want, all right? You could go with cream, walnut stain, white, marble effect, or even sage green depending on your home decor style. I'm simply showing you the possibilities. Once the boards were completely dry, it was time for the fun part, assembling the table. I started with the first small cutting board as the base, then placed one of the ceramic pots directly on top, as you can see. But before gluing everything down or anything down, I always recommend doing a dry test first. This helps you make sure the pot is perfectly centered on the board. Trust me, alignment makes a huge difference in how professional the finished piece looks. For this project, I used Gorilla Construction adhesive instead of the regular glue. Construction adhesive gives a much stronger bond, which is really important for a functional piece of furniture like a side table. Once I was happy with the placement, I glued the first part to the wooden base. Then added another small board on top of that pot. And then I repeated the same process. Pot, board, all the way to the top. Okay, so each time I added a new layer, I checked the alignment to make sure everything stayed nice and centered. This is very important, guys. And the good thing is that while the glue is still wet, you still have a little time to adjust things. I used another board to make sure that everything was perfectly aligned. You could also use a ruler if you want, but I just felt using the board kind of made things way more easier for me. Once I attached the 5th and final pot, the large cutting board will become the tabletop for us. All right, again, make sure to check for alignment here. After gluing the tabletop, which is the larger board, I made sure it was perfectly centered before pressing it down firmly. After that, I let everything cure for about 24 to 48 hours so the structure becomes completely solid. And once it was fully dry, just look at this transformation, guys. This honestly looks like something you'd find at West Elm, CB2 or Restoration Hardware. But it was made using Dollar Tree supplies. Now for how I started, I placed this one right next to my sofa and it works perfectly as a compact side table for small spaces. You can use it to hold candles, plants, coffee, books, or even your remote controls like I just showed you. Because of the vertical tier design, it's also great for apartments, condos, or tight living room corners where you still want something stylish without taking up a lot of space. You could also style this in an entryway, bedroom space, reading nook, or even beside an accent chair. And the black and gold combination just gives it that luxury designer vibe without the designer price tag. Once again, I would just like to reiterate, I only use black and gold because that is my preference, but you can use any other color of your choosing, guys. I keep saying this over and over because I've gotten this in the comment section a lot. And again, do let me know in the comments, which other colors would you have used for your own side table? And this is only DIY number 1, guys. Wait till you see the next or the rest of our DIYs today. Okay, so for our second DIY project, I picked up 4 of these small plastic planter pots. I also grabbed 1 large wooden curtain board and 1 smaller curtain board from Dollar Tree. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you might recognize these planters because I actually used them in another project before this, which will be linked in the description box below. One thing I liked about these Dollar Tree planters is that they actually have a bit of weight to them, which makes them surprisingly perfect for furniture style like DIYs like this. However, you can add some cement in the bottom planter for additional weight and support. But for me, I will leave it as is. Using Gorilla Glue, I glued all 4 planter pods together and stacked them vertically to create a tall sculptural column. This is where the transformation really starts to happen. Once I was happy with the alignment, I glued the planters together and set them aside. If you did notice, I only used both hot glue and Gorilla Glue for the base, the very first one, just so I can continue working on this project. But for the rest of it, I used only Gorilla Glue. Again, this makes it easy for you to make any kind of adjustments before the glue actually sets in. That is because once it cures, there's nothing you can do about it. Next, it was time to give the columns that modern high-end look. I used the semi-gloss black spray paint to completely cover the stacked planters. Black is one of my favorite colors, guys, when it comes to home decor DIYs because it instantly gives a piece that clean, modern designer look. But of course, you can actually and absolutely customize this to match your own decor style. While the planters were drying, I moved on to the cutting boards, which will become the tabletop and our base. Instead of painting them this time, I decided to go with a stained wood look because I wanted something that would match the tones in my living room. Now here's a little DIY trick, guys. Instead of using traditional wood stain, I used burnt umber chalk paint. I applied the paint using a sponge and lightly dabbed it across the surface of the cutting boards. To create a more natural stain effect, I dipped the sponge in a little water from time to time and blended the paint across the wood grain. This technique gives you that rich stained wood look without needing traditional stain products. You can also achieve this exact look using acrylic brown paint, which works just as good. Once I was happy with the finish, I sealed everything using clear wax. If you don't have wax on hand, Mod Podge works perfectly too. I love the fact that Dollar Tree carries Mod Podge in both the matte option and also the glossy option. So if you want yours to be glossy or matte, you can actually pick those up at Dollar Tree. They have plenty of them, all right? I then set the boards aside to dry completely. Once everything was dry, it was finally time to assemble the table. I started by laying down the smaller curtain board as the base. Then I glued the stacked planter column directly on top of it. Again, before gluing, I always recommend doing a dry placement test just to make sure that the column sits perfectly centered. Once that was aligned, I used Gorilla Construction glue to permanently secure the base. Then the final step was attaching the larger curtain board on top to create the tabletop. And just like that, this Dollar Tree project started to look like a designer furniture piece. After assembling everything, I let the piece cure for about 24 to 48 hours so it will be nice and sturdy. And honestly, I love how this turned out. This black and wood combination works so beautifully with my living room because it matches the tones of my coffee table and TV console unit. For styling, I kept it simple. I added a couple of remotes on top, which instantly makes it a functional couch side table. But you could style this in so many different ways. You could place a small lamp, a decorative vase, a stack of books, or even use it as a plant stand. It will also look beautiful in the reading corner, bedroom beside the bed, entryway styling, or even a small apartment living room where space is limited. What I love most about this piece is that it has that modern sculptural look, but it was made entirely from Dollar Tree items. And that's the magic of DIY, guys. You can take the most unexpected materials and turn them into something that looks ridiculously high-end. Now on to our next project. Alright, so now for our DIY side table number 3, I grabbed 4 of these slightly heavy-weighted striped plastic planter pots from Dollar Tree. And the reason I chose these specifically is because they are not flimsy at all. They actually have a nice bit of weight to them, which makes them perfect for a project like this where we want something that looks elevated and feels sturdy. These planters also come in a few different colors, but of course, we won't be keeping the original color today. First things first, I removed the labels and from all 4 of the pots, and now it was time for me to start building the base of this table. For this step, I used construction Gorilla Glue instead of the regular one because I wanted something with a stronger hold, just like we've done with the previous 2 projects. Before we continue with this project, our word of the day today is intentional, and that is because these DIYs are designed thoughtfully and with purpose, not randomly, but because every piece serves a role in the overall look and feel of your space. Even with Dollar Tree DIYs like this one, being intentional is what transforms simple materials into something that looks designer and high-end. Alright, so now back to our DIY. Now for the tabletop, I used this large round pizza tray from the dollar store, specifically Dollarama. Once everything was stacked and aligned properly, I let the glue cure. After attaching the tray to the top planter, I allowed the entire piece to cure properly for about 24 to 48 hours so everything would be nice and secure. Once the glue was completely set, it was time for painting. I started by spray painting the entire table in a soft ivory white color. This color instantly gives the piece a very modern high-end look. But I didn't stop there. After the ivory coat dried, I will be using this stone textured spray paint over the entire piece as well. You could absolutely leave it just like this, but I decided to take it one step further. To disguise the seams where the pots connect and add a little elegance, I used these gold thumbtacks from Dollar Tree. Using a pincher, I clipped off the sharp ends and then glued the flat top along the seam lines where each planter meets. It is very easy to actually take apart the thumbtacks using a pincher, which I just found out. This little detail does 2 things. First, it completely hides the fact that these are planter pots stacked together. And second, it adds a subtle designer accent detail that really elevates the entire piece. And just like that, we now have a high-end sculptural side table made almost entirely from Dollar Tree items. What I really love about this one is how versatile it is. You could style this beside a sofa in your living room, next to an accent chair, in a bedroom corner, or even in an entryway with a beautiful vase on top. I chose to keep things simple and elegant with this one. So I added a large neutral vase with greenery to create some height, but you could also style this with stacked decor books, a candle, a decorative tray, or even a small lamp. Because the shape of this table already makes such a statement, you really don't have to do much on top. You can also customize this in any color you want, guys. You could also do matte black for a modern look, terracotta for a Mediterranean vibe, or even a soft taupe for something more neutral. But personally, I absolutely love this ivory stone finish because it gives this table a very calm sculptural designer feel. And honestly, if someone walked into my home and saw this piece, I don't think they would ever guess it started with Dollar Tree planter pots and pizza tray. Anyways, if you enjoyed this one, do give this video a thumbs up and just wait until you see the next side table idea. Keep watching. Okay, so if you've ever seen those stacked designer pedestal tables with glass detailing and thought there's no way that's affordable, wait until you see what I made using Dollar Tree finds. For this elevated Dollar Tree side table DIY, I grabbed 5 small plastic planter pots, the same ones we used in DIY number 2, and 5 of these mini round glass cutting boards from Dollar Tree. This is such a hidden gem. One side is textured and the other side is smooth, and they come with rubber feet so they don't slide, okay? That detail alone, genius. I love that these feet come off easily. That saves time and makes this project seamless. However, I removed the rubber feet from 4 of them and left the rubber feet on just 1, which will form the base of our table. I made sure to take off all the labels and wipe them down properly, especially the gum residue from taking off those little feet. Now, originally, I wanted to spray paint the glass cutting boards gold for a glam look, but after laying everything out, I decided to keep them clear. Because what's the point of getting glass and then covering it up with paint? However, you can do that if you want. The transparency gives the piece a high-end, modern feel. If you prefer gold or black or any other color, absolutely go for it. I'm only showing you possibilities. Once again, your creativity sets the tone. Next, I painted the 5 black planter pots an off-white tone using chalk paint first, and then went ahead to spray paint them. Layering like this helps me save on spray paint and gives better coverage. It's practical and efficient. I also grabbed a large round pizza tray from Dollar Store, Dollarama to be specific, to act as the tabletop. Same one from our previous DIY. I painted it the same soft off-white so everything flows together. Once everything was fully dry, it was time to assemble. I placed the first round glass cutting board down, the one with the rubber feet still attached, and positioned the first planter pot directly in the center. Very important here, guys. Always dry test first. I keep saying this. Before gluing anything. Check alignment from all angles. That symmetry is what makes this look designer. I used construction Gorilla Glue instead of regular glue for extra hold and stability. I glued the first pot down, then added another glass board on top, then another pot, and continued stacking. Glass, pot, you get the drift, until all 5 cutting boards were in place. This is the same technique we used for our very first DIY in this series, this particular video, okay? So the beauty of this design is that while the glue is still wet, you can slightly adjust and correct alignment. Take your time here. Precision makes the difference between DIY and designer dupe. Again, this is why we use our Gorilla Glue and not hot glue for this. because of course you want to be able to make adjustments as needed while the glue is still wet. After attaching the final planter pot, I glued the painted pizza tray at the top, making sure it was perfectly centered. And then, patience. Let it cure for a full 24 to 48 hours. Do not rush this part. And once it was fully cured, you have a ridiculously high-end side table that no one will ever guess came from Dollar Tree. You could add some cement in the first planter for additional weight if you want to, but I feel this was okay as is. The glass layers reflect light beautifully, which makes the whole piece feel airy and expensive. You could also style this on a patio, in a bedroom as a chic nightstand, in an entryway with a statement vase, or even in a small apartment where space is limited but style is not. And that's what I love about these Dollar Tree DIYs, guys. They're customizable. You are not copying decor, you are creating it. From 5 plastic pots and 5 glass cutting boards, and a pizza pan to a sculptural layered pedestal side table that looks like it belongs in a high-end showroom. Tell me this doesn't look expensive, because I know it does. Alright, for our 5th and final Dollar Tree side table DIY, this one might actually be the easiest and fastest project of the entire video, but somehow it still ends up looking incredibly modern and high-end. For this project, I grabbed 2 black planters from the gardening section at Dollar Tree and then paired them with this gray planter, our famous gray planter, which we already used in 2 of the previous DIYs in this video. To assemble this table, I'm using a combination of Gorilla Glue for durability and hot glue for a quick initial hold. First, I attached the gray planter in the center and then glue one black planter at the top and the other black planter at the bottom, creating this sculptural stacked shape. If you are a returning subscriber or you are an oldie and fervent follower of this channel, you would have seen this DIY in another video. I just thought it would make sense to actually add this to this video since we're doing side tables. Next, I picked up this planter tray from Dollar Tree, which is going to act as the tabletop. Now, these trays actually do come in black sometimes, but my Dollar Tree didn't have any in stock, which is totally fine because a quick coat of black spray paint solves that problem instantly. Once the tray was painted and dry, I simply placed it on top of the planter, and just like that, we've created a budget-friendly side table with built-in storage. Now, here's a little tip. I actually recommend not gluing the tray down. By leaving it removable, you can easily lift it up and use this inside as hidden storage for things like remotes, books, small decor pieces, or even charging cables. It's one of those small functional details that makes a DIY feel intentional and thoughtfully designed. I decided to keep this piece all black because black always brings that clean, modern, slightly dramatic designer feel. But of course, you could paint yours white, beige, gold, stone texture, or even marble effect, depending on your decor style. Once again, this type of table is perfect for small living rooms, apartments, bedrooms, reading corners, or even entryways when you want something stylish but functional. You could also style this outdoors on a balcony or patio, or place it between 2 accent chairs as a modern side table. And that's exactly why I love DIYs like this. Sometimes the simplest projects are the ones that end up looking the most expensive. And the fact that this started with just a few Dollar Tree planters makes it even better. Well guys, and that's it for today's video. 5 new Dollar Tree side table DIYs that look ridiculously high-end using simple budget-friendly materials. Let me know in the comments which of the 5 side table DIYs was your favorite. I love hearing which project inspired you the most. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you enjoy Dollar Tree DIY home decor that looks expensive, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I post new high-end budget decor DIYs every single week. You also want to check out this next video right here where I created more Dollar Tree home decor pieces that look insanely expensive. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.